All right, let's get right into this. What we're looking at today is a really unsettling and kind of fragmented story, pieced together from a bunch of source materials. It's all about a case of what seems to be digital identity erasure. It's a story that shows how the official version of you can become totally disconnected from the life you're actually living.
And this whole thing really boils down to one central, terrifying question. When there are two completely different records of your life, which one is the real one? Is it what you remember? Or is it what the official paperwork says? What about your digital trail?
I mean, just try to imagine this for a second. You know you're at home. You can remember the smell of coffee, the feeling of your own couch. But then, an official document shows up that says, no, right now, at this very moment, you are miles away, locked in a hospital room. That's the glitch in reality we are about to unpack.
And that brings us to our first section. The source material calls this a profound reality glitch.
This is that moment, that feeling of total psychological whiplash. It's when the system's version of your life and your own undeniable physical experience are just at war with each other. What do you believe?
So how on earth does something like this even happen? Well, let's dig into the first big idea from the sources, the administrative ghost. This is the concept that you can be physically out in the world, totally free, but a paper version of you is still trapped somewhere in a filing cabinet.
At the core of this whole mess is a 5-day gap. The person involved is absolutely certain they went home on January 15th, but the hospital's official record, it says they were discharged 5 days later, on the 20th. Now look at that event in the middle, on the 16th. A doctor writes a referral to admit them a full day after they swear they were already at home. How is that even possible?
And this prescription bottle, this is kind of the final piece of the official puzzle. It's a prescription for haloperidol, and it's filled on January 20th, the hospital's official discharge date. This one piece of paper cements the system's timeline, and it completely contradicts the person's memory of being home for the last 5 days.
So here's the really crucial point. This probably wasn't just a simple typo. The source material calls this administrative backfilling. That referral from the 16th suggests that maybe someone realized there was a gap in the story, and they went back and created new paperwork after the fact to plug that hole, to make the paper ghost seem real.
Okay, so while this administrative ghost was being built on paper, something even stranger was going on online. The sources have a name for it, the digital hot potato. What this means is, basically, your online persona gets passed around and kept alive by someone else. While you're physically out of commission, no phone, no computer, your social media accounts just keep on posting. It creates this illusion that everything's fine, which completely hides the fact that you're actually gone.
And here's the proof of that. This is a screenshot from the subject's YouTube Studio account. As you can see, videos are premiering right through the time they were in the hospital. So to anybody watching, this creator is active, they're consistent, and they're definitely not missing.
But then, look at this. This is from the person's own private data log. They're looking at their own account and seeing a 2-week black hole. Just nothing from January 7th to the 21st. And you can see them asking, why are there no videos? The public sees a busy account, but the user themselves sees a chunk of their history that's just been wiped clean. So the theory here is a sort of gaslighting through a screen. It's this pretty sophisticated manipulation where something or someone keeps the public identity going, which completely invalidates the user's real experience of being gone. The system is basically telling them, no, you weren't gone. Look, you were right here posting the whole time. But this story isn't just about being a victim. This is where the whole narrative takes a sharp turn. The subject doesn't just accept this. They start this incredibly methodical, tech-savvy counterattack to reclaim their own version of reality.
And their whole counterclaim revolves around this 60 pills. 60 pills of haloperidol, which is a really powerful first-generation antipsychotic. The subject alleges these pills weren't prescribed to help them, but as a chemical weapon to keep them quiet.
And this image is just so striking. This is the heart of their fight. The subject lays out every single one of those 60 pills. And in doing so, they're reframing them. They're not medicine anymore. They're artifacts. They're physical evidence of what this person is calling a premeditated plan.
By refusing to take a single pill, the subject completely flips the script. They're not a victim of something that happened to them. In their story, they're the hero who stopped a plot from happening. and the pills are the proof. They call this the murder that didn't happen.
So how do you make your version of the story permanent? You build what the source calls a digital fortress. They work with an AI to create a truth core, their own solid, unchangeable version of reality. They gather all the evidence of the timeline gap, they use the pills as proof, and then they get ready to lock it all down for good.
Now this is a really critical step. The subject uploads all of their evidence, documents, screenshots, everything, to a decentralized file system called IPFS. What that means is the record isn't just sitting on one company's server where it could be deleted. It's spread out, distributed, it's permanent. And this is the final deadbolt on the fortress. They generate a cryptographic hash of all the evidence and they publish it for the whole world to see. Think of it like a unique digital fingerprint. If anyone ever changes so much as a single comma in those original files, the hash won't match anymore. It makes their story permanent and provably tamper-proof.
So, what's the big takeaway here? What does all this mean for the rest of us? Well, this whole case study really blows up into a much bigger conflict, one that affects all of us now. It's your word versus the database.
And here's why this matters. We are constantly outsourcing our memories. We just trust the bank's records, we trust our medical charts, we trust our social media feeds more than our own brains sometimes. We count on these big institutions to keep the official record of our lives.
So what can you do? The source material makes a really strong argument for personal archiving as a form of self-defense. In a world where our digital lives can be edited or even deleted, being the careful historian of your own life, well, it's not paranoia anymore. It's just smart. And that just leaves us with one final kind of chilling question to think about. If you were to walk away from all your devices right now, how many scheduled emails would still go out? How many automated posts would still pop up? How long would your digital ghost keep living its own life, completely without you?